So I think that, as you said, when I first learned about theory of constraints, when I went to business school back in 20 years ago, give or take, I was mesmerized by the simplicity of it. And it's something that when you see it for the first time, you should be able to say, why didn't I think of that?
Right.
No, I thought Eli Goldar was a genius. I mean, when I heard him speak years ago, and the man was a genius, a simple guy, but an absolute genius when it came to manipulating systems and getting to the core of what makes a system work. And I think personally that if we were to adopt a theory of constraints, which dovetails very well with other process improvement tactics, such as Lean Six Sigma, Lean Thinking, Six Sigma, and so on. It all dovetails very well. I think we would be better off in medicine, or what people call healthcare nowadays.
So if we adopt this in healthcare, or won't that naturally lead to more burnout for nurses, physicians, staff? Because here's one more thing you have to do. Like, here's one more thing you have to worry about, one more metric you have to follow.
Well, that's a very interesting question. I hadn't thought about it that way, but I don't think so. I think it actually would be the opposite, because it would give purpose to the tasks that we're doing. Don't you think, if you look around, I certainly view it that way, that we continue to overburden the people at the bedside with menial tasks that don't bring any value. And one of the concepts of theory of constraints, which also works for lean thinking, is value stream analysis. So look at a process and see what are the steps, which steps bring value to the entire process. In this case, in medicine, what brings value to the patient? One of the things that we teach residents, a resident X wants to do this test or that test on a patient, or wants to do this procedure or that procedure. And invariably, one of the questions we ask is, okay, how is that going to help the patient? And, many times, particularly the most junior physicians, look at you like, I hadn't thought about it that way. It just seemed like, it's in the guidelines. The guidelines say you should do this, you should do that. So one of my biggest concerns, if you will, at the present time, with our specialties or field of endeavor, is what we're doing in medical education. And you and I have talked about one of my recent publications on that, and the issue that we are not really teaching critical thinking. Critical thinking leads to clarity of thought, and clarity of thought can then lead to the use of tools like theory of constraints. I think this is where it fits. It fits into a tactic. How do I go from point A to point B? How could you improve the throughput of your process if you don't look at the constraints, at what's constraining that process? And as we talked about the other day in some of the negotiating theories that you and I have been discussing, who would answer the following question in a bad way? The question: would you be opposed to unconstraining your system, your process? Think about that. And I think that's to me, that's where the money is, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that question. When you said it last time we spoke, I was like, it sounds so cool, because it's you would never hear that question. I don't think anyone's ever said that question before. Like, it sounds so simple and to the point.